Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's another edition of In This Very Ring, right here on A2D Radio. I am the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. I'm the one they call Ritz. And joining me as he does each and every, whenever the hell this thing drops, right down there, it's the OGP of A2D. It's Mr. Pete Evans. What
Greetings and
in the blue
salutations.
moon is underneath your name?
7-Eleven Hokage, man. If you know, you know, yo.
All right, fair enough. And ladies and gentlemen, making a very special appearance, subbing in for the mayor of Toasty Town Butters, it is the host of Lazy Booking right here on A2D Radio. It is Chrome.
Love the shirt.
What's up? Thank you, sir. I mean, we're back in Vegas, so you know we gotta rep one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time.
Well, it was funny. I was actually when I got home, I grabbed a shirt and I was looking for the old Birds of a Feather shirt that I have. Mm-hmm. Because for anybody that's been around here for a while, these two jabronis used to co-host Birds of a Feather way back in the day.
When it was probably at its peak, what those would say in some circles.
But we're not going to say that out loud.
I mean, I was a founding father of that show. Yeah, that's one of my first.
That just means you're old.
It's one of my first shows on here, man. Geez, 8 years on A2D Radio. It's crazy.
I know it's crazy. I was thinking about it myself. I remember when I did, because WrestleMania, it's WrestleMania week, obviously, and we're gonna get into WrestleMania 41. But if you go way back, WrestleMania 42 was my first exposure to A2D Radio. Pete, you weren't around, but Chrome, I think you were.
Just said WrestleMania 42, did he not?
I said 32.
You said 42.
Thank you.
32. We're that semantics.
We're the old ones.
Yes, absolutely. WrestleMania 32. Yeah. I remember I got reached out to by Michael Mataraki to actually write an article for A2D Radio back when we actually did those things. Mm-hmm. And so somewhere in the archive there's a question and answer article between me and Mataraki because I was going to WrestleMania 32 in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And then shortly thereafter, it became I think a year went by. It was right after WrestleMania 33. I joined up with A2D Radio.
Yeah, I think 33 was my first Mania with the company, if I'm correct. So I joined in November of 2017.
I want to say I was March of 2018, right after the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because weren't you there the year I came up?
Yes.
And we started the show, and then about maybe 15, 20 minutes into the show, we got cut off.
Yes. Oh, I thought 34 was my first one.
I want to say 34 that's when we did the round table, right?
34, yeah. 34, yep.
That was a round table.
And I came up for 35.
Yeah, because 34 wasn't that New Orleans again?
Yeah.
34 was New Orleans, yep.
I did back-to-back that year. I did 34 and 35. And I remember we filmed a bunch of stuff in New Orleans, but because the Airbnb we had awful upload, we couldn't get it to the content team at the time, so none of that saw the light of day.
Wow.
But we are here for WrestleMania 41. It is just 5 nights away by the time you guys see this, 4 nights away.
Well,
starting this Saturday, and I don't know. What do you guys think of the build so far? We're gonna get into previews and predictions and different things, but a lot of people that I have talked to, everybody has come up to me and go, "Man, this build feels really weird. I'm excited for WrestleMania, but I'm also not excited for WrestleMania. I'm just kind of there." What do you guys think? How are you guys feeling? Raw just ended a little bit ago. We have SmackDown later this week, but really, it's this weekend.
They're trying. They're giving it a college try, and but I think they're doing more than that. I mean, if Raw ended, I am invested in this next match, in the triple threat match, after what I've seen the past 2 to 3 weeks. But I also think that's the people that are involved and knowing that the build kind of came late, and they had to hit on these things. And it's not so much even the action, it's the mannerisms. If you can see Paul's placement tonight, where Seth turned and Paul made sure he was behind Roman, just from how it's shot and the story that's being told without words even being spoken, right? And it seems like everyone in that match has gotten the upper hand to end the night on one accord, all except really Roman. If you think about it, when Punk first attacked Roman and said, "Thanks for bringing him to me, Paul," that was Punk's night, right? Seth's kind of went over both nights. Roman was the aggressor tonight, but the last person standing tall in this whole build has not been Roman. If anything, I feel like Roman is the one probably going into this match with the least amount of steam and the least amount of momentum, honestly. And when he was a champion for 1,300 days, that definitely shows you how they can change the narrative and how they change the story. I think they're hitting on the big ones for the most part, right? And we obviously the European tour, that was pretty much all Cody. That was all Cody Cena's build, and that's kind of started to. But I mean, the last 2 or 3 weeks, the Jey and Gunther build, and now this triple threat match. I mean, boys, it's looking like Saturday may be the night, honestly. And I think I'm going to be with that guy up there to my above my right shoulder over there. I think we'll be right there in that little abode on Saturday night.
Yeah, I would agree in the in what seems to be the common narrative of it's been an odd build to this Mania. Now, I always look at WrestleMania a little bit differently than most people. Like, yes, you want to have this amazing build, but like, I found that some of the weakest builds, but you look at the card and you're like, just looking at just the card on paper, if I was just to look at these matches, I feel like this WrestleMania stacks up with any that we've possibly seen in a long time. So, like, I'm open-minded to it. I think that there's been way more good than bad in terms of the John Cena and Cody build. I still find it very odd that there's been no Rock and very little reference to Rock when it comes to the follow-up after Elimination Chamber. I do think that's
talked about a lot.
Yeah, it's a very weird, it's a very big miss for me. I'm with Pete in terms of the triple threat. I think it's weird though, because it's built steam, and I was looking forward to it just in general because I think that what I saw at Rumble alone with these three basically taking each other out was enough for me to be like, I want to see that match at WrestleMania.
Right.
But it's just, I can't get past this, like, the favor is I want you in my corner. Like, it's just very weird to me that we had to get this long to get to that, and that's the payoff of that. Now, when we get to predictions of the match, I think it'll be a totally different story, but it's very odd to me. I think the effort's been there for the women in terms of, like,
that's a very nice way of saying that.
Charlotte and Tiffany has been there, but I mean, at the end of the day, and I have a lot of hope for Tiffany. I don't think she's on the Charlotte level yet, and I think it's been really evident throughout this. We'll deep dive into that. I just think there's a lot of things they haven't done enough. AJ and Logan Paul, I would have liked to seen a little bit more of that, because I think that match could be in a classic. Yeah. And it doesn't even need a title bout, the way those two guys work. The women's tag team title match seems very clunky and weird to me.
Especially when you have them go against each other for titles in a singles match the week before, and then it's just weird. Like, and not having Chelsea on here is mind-boggling.
And why are we not getting the tag team title match why are we not getting the Profits and the Motor City Machine Guns either? Why is that on SmackDown? I don't understand that. Why is Lyra Valkyria in a tag team title match instead of defending her Intercontinental title? It's a brand new title. Give it the highlight that it deserves. There's a lot of things that I'm sure we're going to nitpick at.
Right.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I believe that the card will deliver. And I will say this again, too, real quick before you go, Andy. I had mentioned to you guys, maybe I didn't. I did to a couple of my other buddies. I've really gone back over the last month, and when I go to sleep at night, instead of watching some of the other stuff I do, I'll put on an old Mania, and I just play old Manias.
Okay. I think you mentioned that to me.
Yeah, I think I said it to you. And I look at 15, right? And 15 had this amazing build. But I'll be honest, I'm watching it, and they show me the video packages going in. But none of I watched the Mania, and it itself was great, and I don't really even remember a whole lot of the storylines. And that was supposed to be one of the biggest,
right?
Other than Rock and Austin, right? We understand what that was.
Yeah.
But a lot of the storylines are I watched the Mania, and it's really, really good. And there was a couple of other ones I went back and I watched. Some of the older ones. I watched some recent ones. I went back and watched 25, and I watched
24 to 27. They get forgotten about a lot.
27 stunk. That's why 27 is not talked about.
27 was that first Rock Cena?
No, 27 was Miz and Cena.
Okay.
It was Brock's return when he was the host.
Yeah, I actually looked that one up the other night for something, believe it or not, and I couldn't. I'm a big WrestleMania guy. I used to do those facts of the day and this, that, and the other thing. And I was talking to somebody. It's like, yeah, WrestleMania 27, it had this, and I couldn't.
It did have Undertaker and Triple H, which was
that was Undertaker and Triple H 1.
2. That was the end of. Was that the end of the era?
17 was 1. They did 17.
Oh, that's right. They did 3 technically. I meant the back-to-back years.
Yeah.
Because it went Michaels, triple.
Which, by the way, if you are watching A&E's Rivals, the one with them where they did the Rivals where they chronicled their WrestleMania rivalry specifically.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they touched on early in their career, and they showed the infamous Shotgun Saturday Night tombstone on the elevator or the escalator.
Yeah.
But the primary basis was behind their WrestleManias, and it is one of the best Rivals episodes I've seen. So check that out if you get a chance. But yeah. I mean, I just I watched 29, and 29. I remember 29 as my first Mania. It was not a great build,
right?
But when I watch it back and you see that's Big E's first WrestleMania, that's the Shield's first WrestleMania, and you go back and you look at there's a lot of star power there. And then you some of the match quality of that stuff. And obviously that was Rock and Cena too. That storyline once in a lifetime, twice over. But it was again, I think at the end of the day, if it delivers on the night of WrestleMania, it's kind of an afterthought. They needed to your point, to deliver on the big ones programs. You have to have some kind of momentum behind that, and I do think they've accomplished that. A little muddy at some points, but they've accomplished it.
See, my biggest thing is a lot of people take ourselves out of the equation. So many people are looking at this year and going, last year was so much more exciting in comparison to this year, and it was in a little bit, right? Because you had night 1 meant so much for night 2, and they kept touting this as the biggest WrestleMania ever. And it all really started with that press conference pre-show thing they did a month prior, right? Where the slap happened and they kind of set up for Rock and Roman and Punk and Cody. Yeah. Not Punk. Rollins and Cody. Right? Cody. So they set that up so well, and it hit on every notion. Then you look at this year, and coming out of the Royal Rumble, we were like, all right, it's Jey and Gunther, Tiffany and Charlotte. Cody's going to fight the winner of the Chamber. That's about it. You get to the Chamber, all right, it's Cody, Cena. Oh, Cena's the bad guy. But you really didn't have anything else coming out of that. We figured we were going to get Jade Naomi because Jade came back and had the attack and everything.
Right.
But you didn't know where things were going to land with the women's title, the U.S. title. You weren't sure. So it felt like they put a lot of things together really quickly. But you had so much time between Chamber and Mania this year.
Yeah.
Because of how it felt. You had, 2 solid months?
This is true, but I would say some of the weakest build also can go for the best cards because there's not expectations aren't there. But also, if we take a step back, this Mania is different for Trips and the Triple H era. This is uncharted territory because there's no overarching long story game here to be told. Unlike 38, unlike 39, unlike 40. 40, shit, we was all in it for a year. Is Cody's going to finish the story or not? Then you couple that with The Rock, and you couple that with the pivot, and not just The Rock and his presence being in the host. He's actually in the match, right? So he's working, and then we get what we saw on night 2 last year. Probably one, if not the greatest ending to a WrestleMania, just as far as run-ins and timing and spots, things that we've seen. This is kind of different because the build and the story to this was kind of quicker than what Trips has ever had to do thus far, right?
Yeah. Well, and you look at the Jey and Gunther thing, and like Chrome said, we're going to break things down in just a little bit. Tonight, I thought Gunther's promo tonight was solid, but it felt quick. But when Jey came out and he was that mix of seriousness that we saw last week, right, but then also that little bit of Jey Uso, I was like, all right, no, I'm in. I'm invested. Like, let's go. Let's go to Saturday. Let's see the win, everything like that, or the not win, whatever happens.
Right.
And then when the final segment happened with Rollins, Punk, and Roman, Pete, you talked about it. The placement of Paul. No, I'm sorry. Was that Crone that talked about it?
That was me.
Right. I was right the first time. The placement of Paul Heyman, the words said, even the subtle things like Roman getting his own microphone.
Right.
So many elements there told such a bigger story that almost going into Saturday, you're like, I'm not sure. I think I know. I know what I want. I know what they might do, but I'm not real sure. Like, I was texting my buddies right before we came on the air. Usually coming into WrestleMania, I can go, they're winning. At least half the card. There's a lot of variables here, and I love it. I love that there's so many opportunities for them to swerve us.
Right.
There's so many opportunities for them to do exactly what we expect them to do. And there's so many opportunities for them to do something we never even thought of.
Right. We can genuinely be surprised. They can give us something that we predicted, and they can give us the unpredictable. I would say there's a difference between being swerved and being genuinely surprised.
Correct.
Like when there's something coming completely out of left field, that opportunity does present itself.
So let's kind of get into it, and we're gonna start kind of low down on the totem pole and then work our way up to the bigger matches.
Are we doing like by each night?
Are you going Saturday and Sunday or no?
I'm going to stick with Saturday first, and then we'll go to Sunday. And I thought about trying to do like a preview segment and then roll into the predictions. And I think we're just going to keep it all together, and we're just going to kind of talk like we've been doing.
Okay.
So night one, and I'm on Wikipedia, and I'm just going to bounce around.
So do you want us to like hit on individual build for the matches and then give like overall?
We can do that too.
Okay.
We're gonna kind of just free flow this, talk about them. What do we think about them? In some cases, do they belong on WrestleMania in comparison to other things like Crow had brought up? There's no U.S. title match. There's no WWE tag team titles.
Yeah.
The WWE tag team titles, right? Who's missing from the card? Those kind of things. Like, for example, Jade Cargill versus Naomi. I get it. I get why it's on the card. But I was a big proponent of this should have been on Sunday, and the women's triple threat match should have been on Saturday. And you figured out a way to get Bianca out of that triple threat and into a triple threat with these two. Because to me, that was the better story for Bianca. Because she even said it, last week in a promo? Her two best friends beating the hell out of each other.
Right.
Right? So that was more interesting for me than Bianca being involved in the Iyo Rhea feud.
Well, I think Bianca just needs a title, but specifically speaking to Naomi and Jade, it gives it. I think it is deserving because Jade's presence is just that big. Mm-hmm. Her presence and her presentation, her look, her entrance on that level, on that stage, and then Naomi's doing some of the, if not the best work she's ever done in WWE on the promos and her vignettes and what she's doing and talking about why she turned, how she turned. It's like you kind of got to get me before I get you, right? And it's just it's a blood feud. Essentially, it's just a good all out women's blood feud who with this much stakes you haven't really had where they pretty much it's on site with them. It's true on site because every time they see each other, they scrap it.
Somebody should tell that to Cody Rhodes how that goes.
But 100%.
But my point, you say it's a blood feud, right?
Right.
In my head and the way I saw this whole picture building out, especially given that Bianca kind of got duped throughout this whole thing, she almost belongs a part of it. Mm. And the fact that she's not kind of makes me go, what are we doing here?
I'm not convinced that she's
not. That's what I was just about to say the same thing.
She's been, I mean, she acknowledged it this week.
Right.
Correct.
But she's been, wearing obviously the darker gear and the darker makeup and
that's why I was kind of hoping. So. That's why I was kind of hoping you do the triple threat on Saturday.
See, I don't think you can do that because are they going to are they swapping the other women's title match then?
Yes.
You're not putting both women's title matches.
No, yeah, no, night, absolutely.
Right? So if you're suggesting that, then I get it.
I think you would swap them. To be fair, I just realized that Tiffany and Charlotte were on Saturday night. For some reason I thought they were. I don't know what the fuck I thought.
I also don't think they want to do 2 triple threat matches in the same night. Which the main event of Saturday is the triple threat match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
That's kind of
Jey and Gunther's opening, right?
I would imagine
that hasn't been officially announced, but I would assume they are.
I would imagine that it seems to be the way it happens now. Where
not a fan of that, but I digress on that.
Well, night 1 opens and night 2 it closes. That seems to be the formula of the last couple of years.
Didn't say I was a fan of it either way. But we talked about that at nauseum. What, last week before, Pete?
Right.
You have that old school mentality, right? The title should close out the show. I don't.
Does he ever?
No, I only do. And I made this point very clear. I only do when it's the Royal Rumble and they say main event WrestleMania. And we went on for 45 minutes about it, about how the verbiage, and I'm not going to get on that soapbox again. It's that verbiage. If you're gonna have them open, then change the verbiage. And I'm cool with it because there are pay-per-views where that's not the big match. There are events where that title match is not, and I understand that, and that's okay. Right? I was not like that in the beginning when they started doing it. No. If you had a Money in the Bank, that's a horrible example. I don't know, Bad Blood that didn't have the title at the end, I was pissed for a long while. But I finally got on the train and understood it and whatever have you. But it's that Royal Rumble in the WrestleMania where I'm like, neither one of them's even remotely close to the end of the show.
Yeah.
That's where I had the issue. But no, I like I said, I storytelling wise, I wrote this a different way and I just can't get away from how I wrote it. Because I really liked it, and I think I like it a little bit more than what they're doing with the
Bianca being involved.
Yeah, with Bianca being involved in the mix of it, I felt like it just added another depth of another layer to the story that I won't say it needs because there's nothing wrong with what they're doing, but it would have elevated it so much more than you're kind of punking out your women's world champion and you're doing the same bit over and over again with those two and Iyo. So thoughts?
I don't know. This match doesn't do anything for me. I'm not in on the Naomi heel turn. I don't find it believable in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
I think her attire is incredibly weird that it's Owen Hart 2.0. I don't get it. I don't know. This just if we're ever going to turn Naomi, this just didn't feel like the way for me. It hasn't excited me. I mean, she's worked really cool in the ring. Like, I think she's going to be a pretty good heel. But like this, I mean, to me, this is a SmackDown match, or this could be a Saturday night's main event match.
I think it would be perfect for a Saturday night's main event. And I think the reason why you may not be totally in on it is because it happened without any glimpse of it happening. If we would have seen some sort of dissension, like once again, we saw with Paul Heyman, like if it would have been Bianca and Jade standing in the foreground with Naomi in the background, or maybe Jade cutting Naomi off if she's giving input, something, give me a little something outside of, and it's still, I can still kind of see it. You took my spot, but it just happened to pay off. Like her doing it happened so fast.
No, this is why I have an issue with it. Now, you guys know I am a Jade fan, and I have always been a Jade fan, right? And I do think that she's still green. There's some work that needs to be done there, but I still see the superstar potential that's there. Right. But there's such an investment in her. I feel like they are forced to put her on the show. Right. Meanwhile, Naomi has main evented or been featured. She has won a women's title at WrestleMania before. She's had the shine.
Yeah.
To me, with Jade, like this could be a pre-show match, and I'd be fine with it. Yeah. But I have an issue where the Street Profits, who have grinded for your company for so many years now at this point,
and they're amazing,
who are on the same show, the same brand.
Yep.
And then one of the best tag teams of the last 25 years are fine. They've had a long-term storytelling with these two teams in their dissension as well. Mm-hmm. And you're not putting that on the main show. And I'm not a person that believes that every title needs to be defended on WrestleMania. A lot of people believe that. I don't. I think you have too many titles. So I get sometimes why not. But I'm just looking at the Street Profits are finally the tag team champions. And maybe the best iteration of their characters. Why are we not featuring them against one of the best tag teams in the world on our biggest show? When we have this match where it just feels very forced. It feels very political to me that they have to put Jade on this show, because I don't think it has anything to do with, like, this is not a hot storyline. And you could argue maybe the tag team titles isn't either, but at least this has been a week in, week out massive feature with the tag team titles. And that's where I have an issue with it. I know they have matches that aren't like, they're not title matches and they're not this and that. And they have rivalries and blood feud matches. It doesn't have that juice to me that we're going to sacrifice the Profits in their place. And that's why. I mean, it's that deep. Just in general, the match on surface level I don't need this for WrestleMania. Now I'll watch it and I'll probably enjoy whatever it ends up being. It's probably going to be a 5 to 8 minute match.
Yeah, it's going to be a filler, if anything. It'll be something later, like mid-show, something like that, to kind of break up the time. Yeah. I don't want to say the timing, but kind of slow things down just a little, let the crowd kind of reset themselves.
Yeah, it just feels like a very we need to continue to build Jade in the eyes of the fans, so we have to get Jade on the card. That's what it feels to me.
I can see that. Pete, do you have anything for this?
I see Crow's, and I'm upset as well that the Profits are not on. And if it has become if it got to that point on the board where it's like, hey, all right, well, we can put Profits MCMG on, but that means Jade and Naomi have to come off, then I'm probably, because let's be honest, right? Motor City Machine Guns been around for the last 15, 20 years, I think, if not
longer.
When they like a premier title.
They've been around the last 20 plus years.
a premier title match at a WrestleMania. When are they going to be in this position again? Pay that off, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
they've been pretty hot since they've come over.
And the tag title program has been so heavily featured on SmackDown for the last 6 months, like well beyond Royal Rumble. Like we're talking like back to before like basically from SummerSlam to now, they've finally really invested in giving television time to the tag team title program week in and week out with multiple tag teams.
Yeah.
Legitimate tag teams.
Number one contenders matches. And it's just it's odd that it's not on there. And like to Chrome's point, if it is political, then I would have went in a different direction. I would have went, and like I said, listen, man. This kind of like Tez has always been kind of serious to amped up on, but this iteration of them, I think, with Dawkins kind of being that tweener between how he used to be, but now just more serious, and like him being the aggressor to where Tez has to be like, nah, dog, like let them live. You know what I mean? Like that is where, because we all thought they was turning heel, and this is what you. And they have an edge, but they don't. It's an edge without them turning heel. Not that you're not cheating. And when it is, they just got sick and tired of the bullshit and wearing the all black. And like I said, their vignettes, man, is just crazy. Even when they went to NXT last week, like this is the best iteration of them. And to not have them on the grandest stage and have Motor City Machine Guns complement that and be able to see Alex Shelley. And Chris Sabin's face when they come out that curtain and see that crowd. Listen, I love them. They ain't never wrestled in front of a crowd like that.
Like they don't even do pre-show matches anymore.
I was just about to say
they really don't.
The pre-show matches are over with.
Well, but I'm curious because Peacock has allotted from 4 p.m. Eastern to 1 a.m. Eastern. That's all WWE programming. Michael Cole said it tonight. I think they're doing like a 3-hour pre-show each night. What the hell?
Why can't we throw a match or two on each side?
Yeah, what are you gonna do for 3 hours?
I don't think they've done pre-show matches in
but I'm really thinking like you got to give me something because there ain't no way I'm gonna tune in for 3 hours just to hear you guys talk about what I'm about to spend 4 hours watching.
And I mean, what a novel idea. I get it, NXT is on a much smaller scale. And I get people can't be in two places at one time. But if you're going to go 3 hours before the actual bell time, might as well start the shit at 3 and just have NXT stand and deliver and everything in the same building.
If you look at the schedule, though, and this is all times are Eastern, stand and deliver starts at noon. I'm sorry.
I think it's 1 o'clock. I saw today.
But I think it's like either 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning.
Coverage might start at noon, but the actual card I think starts at 1.
That makes it worse, Chrome, because it starts at noon with a pre-show. You're gonna do an hour pre-show for NXT. 1 o'clock. You're gonna call it a 2.5 hour NXT stand and deliver, which we're not even talking about tonight because there's so damn much. We're already 33 minutes in. We've got one match done, right? But you're going to do a 2.5 hour. That takes you to 3:30. Now I've got 30 minutes to do whatever I need to do or travel across town or whatever to now get settled in for WrestleMania, assuming that I'm going to watch all 3 hours of the
and I've never been to Vegas, but one of the things I hear about Vegas is even just to come out of your hotel or wherever you're at, just to cross the street sometimes takes forever.
I stayed at the Flamingo, which is directly behind Hell's Kitchen, and I had to go down a block, up a bridge, over the bridge, back down, and back across just to get across the street.
Jesus.
It was dumb.
It's crazy.
That's why after like the first night, I was like, no, I'm Ubering. This is ridiculous.
And like, I mean, like again, for me as a fan too, right? Like I've been to like 7 WrestleManias. Like I liked Oh, well, it's not that much of a flex, but let me see. 29, 31, 33, 34, 35, 37.
Shut up.
40. Yeah, 7.
I can't say
No, but like
4.
Like the pre-shows, like I enjoyed that aspect. Like even like the Andre the Giant battle one, like they would have that on the pre-show, and then whatever they changed the women's one too. They don't even have that now. Like the women's one is done, and the men's one is on SmackDown. Like I just don't understand why if you're doing a 2-hour show, why can't you throw one match on each hour?
Well, what was really nice about the pre-shows from going to the WrestleManias was, like, you go back to WrestleMania 32, they had a massive issue getting people in the door because the internet on one side of the building, the side I was on, went down, and we didn't get in until the end of the Total Divas, tag team match.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Which was almost at the end of the pre-show.
Correct.
So it's really good for people that are trying to get there and get in, and which, all right, I'll give it to you. It's difficult to get around in Vegas. Right. Doors are going to probably be at, just again, all times Eastern, just for my own sanity. Doors are going to probably be at like 3:00, and it starts at 4. So that gives you 4 hours to get in before the actual first bell. All right, cool, but we got to keep rolling.
Yeah, just real quick to add to that before you start, we move on. It's the other aspect of like they encourage you to get there early, get there when doors open, so they have time to get people into the building, and that can be a very long wait when you are there that early.
Yeah,
and I feel like there is a responsibility to keep that crowd engaged. You could kill your crowd before a show starts.
Like, think about, you were 35. It's the one.
35.
I walked in the building at 3:00. We walked out of that thing at almost 1 a.m.
Yep.
That's
I left
a long
with you.
day.
Yeah. I left with you. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. We didn't get home till
pouring rain.
Yeah. Getting out of that stadium was atrocious. But that's a story for another day. But, I mean, that was a long day.
And, like, think about if they had no pre-show matches.
Yep.
Like, to at least keep you entertained when you're there all day.
My phone would have died before the show started.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. And I don't think he's ever been questioned that in a press conference thereafter. Like, why are we not? What's the strategy behind?
You might start tweeting some. Have to start tweeting some reporters. All right, moving on. Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano.
No build, but can definitely be the best match of the weekend.
See, I think the build's been good.
The build's been good the last couple, but I
had a build for him, and Rey doesn't need build, but
no.
Grande Americano is a pure joy.
I think he's a treasure.
All right, let me ask. I had this thought, and it's a dumb thought when I probably say it out loud. When we talked about like swerves and the unpredictable, what if it's really not Chad Gable underneath that mask?
Who else could it be, though?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you two idiots.
You can tell it's Chad Gable.
No,
especially when he did the peace sign tonight.
Yeah,
I'm like, why would he even do that?
100%.
I can't suspend reality on this one.
I'm literally driving home. I'm listening to Raw because I'm like, all right, I need to at least we're doing previews tonight. I gotta listen. Right. And they said something. I don't know who said what, but I was like, man, I could see it not being Chad Gable, but then who the hell would it be?
I mean, could you theoretically not have it be him just for this match? Then yes, but you've seen him wrestle too much to know that it's not him in the ring.
Hey, trust me, I get it. But again, I'm thinking of like, where's the swerve? Where's the unpredictability?
Do we do a callback to WrestleMania 9 with 2 doinks and have 2 Grande Americanos?
I would lose it.
I mean, I would pop for that hard for that.
I would lose my mind. But I think Rey picks up the win here, and you do get the unmasking. They've been
I think
teasing
it's too
it.
early almost for the unmasking, honestly.
But I'm sorry, unless you're gonna do it on the Raw after WrestleMania, like this is the stage to do it on.
Yeah.
Because of how much fun you've had with it,
Right.
and all the build and everything. Like I'm okay if you unmask him at WrestleMania. I think it's hysterical.
Great spot for Chad Gable, by the way.
Yes.
Agreed.
To finally get like a featured match on WrestleMania, and it's against an absolute Hall of Fame legend in Rey Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I want the unmasking.
Yeah, it's so overdue.
I think it'll happen because they've been telegraphing him loading the mask up. So you kind of can say like how the finish is going to come. He's going to try to load it up, and then have it, some weird way. And he said like Gable doesn't get enough credit for how comedic his comedic timing.
Correct.
He does not.
He is he is so legit in the ring.
Yeah.
But he is one of the best entertainers they have. He is really like a modern day Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle had that kind of a comedic timing. Like he is, you've heard me say this. I always talk about a guy like a Josh Alexander, right? Mm-hmm. Who in ring is so like a Canadian version of Kurt Angle. Like he is so good. But he does not have the personality. And that was what separated Kurt. I mean, to this day, in my opinion, it's still the best Hall of Fame speech of all time. Hands down. But, I mean, Chad is him 2.0. And it's awesome to see, and I'm glad that he's finally getting this moment.
Agreed. All right.
I would argue he should have had it last year. He should have been the one to win to dethrone Gunther last year.
I'll die on that hill. I did die on that hill last year.
Yeah. So, I mean, cool moment for Sammy, but Sammy got the tag titles the year before. That should have been Chad last year.
Speaking of tag titles, thank you, Chrome. The War Raiders versus the New Day.
See, why? Why is this match on there?
I'm throwing fuel on this tag team fire. That's all I'm doing.
Like, to me, this is like we could have did this match tonight. Yes. Or you could do this match on a pre-show. Like SmackDown features, and I'm not, listen, I know the New Day is the New Day, and this, but the War Raiders have barely been on television. They just cut vignettes now. Mm-hmm. And Raw doesn't feature the tag team division in the same way. Right. So why are we featuring the other brand that doesn't feature the tag team titles as much? It makes no fucking sense to me. And the New Day are going to win this match, obviously.
Do we see a Big E return?
That's why. That's the only. When they first announced, I'm thinking to myself, he has to be coming back. I'm like, what? I don't. There's no other reason for me for this.
But I keep feeling like, you know how many times I've said they're doing this because he has to be coming back over the last.
Coming back, he doesn't have to get physical, but I think if he comes back and he helps them win.
I mean, I would love it. I could see it.
Right.
But I'm just I'm at the point with Big E where I'm not holding my breath because I've said 27 times over the last 2 years, they have to be doing this because he's coming back and then we don't care. I hope it does.
Watch. The one time you don't say it is when it happens.
I've never, out of all the fusion, out of all the wrestlers that have broken necks that are prominent, right? Never, his situation is so unique. No pain, no long lasting, but the bones just aren't. They're hard, but they're not to that point to be even in that position to take a chance. It's just so odd. I wonder how many the number out of how many cases that this happens.
No idea. But are we all in agreement that it's probably going to be the New Day?
It should be because I wouldn't say they changed.
I think with or without Big E, I think they win here.
But they changed the name back to the War Raiders, and they have steam. But like Chrome said, the tag team division on Raw it's not giving it's not giving.
There's no attention to it at all.
No.
Right, and it's hysterical to think. Right, you lost JD McDonough, and essentially your tag team division died.
Is he due to come back pretty soon?
No. I still think he's got another month at least.
Okay.
LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship.
I mean,
you know my feelings on the whole bloodline, all that crap, and whatever have you. But if you're gonna put the title on Jacob Fatu, I think now's the time to do it. He's showing off as a singles competitor that he can kind of hold his own. He doesn't need Tamatanga, Tangaloa, or Solo Sikoa, and he can just go out there and be a pain in the ass to anybody in front of him. You take it off of LA Knight, who, sorry to say, he's literally just become a long-term transitional champion for most things. And if you're going to take the title off of Braun, which I do think they are going to do on the Intercontinental side, you keep a monster with the mid-card title.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to lead to Solo versus Jacob at some point.
Agreed.
And it might as well be for the US title because Solo's never held it. He's never held a singles title.
He held the NXT North American title.
What's the next match?
Does Chrome have anything to say? You're just going to skip over Chrome?
Yeah,
There's another white guy on here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that, they put so much behind the Jacob Fatu train at this point. And unfortunately, I think when you fed LA Knight to Roman, there was an element that was kind of lost from that. And it's a shame because, I mean, LA Knight is tremendous.
Yeah.
But I think at this point, you have to change the title and give it to him. You can't miss this opportunity with Jacob Fatu and kill the momentum. And yeah. Am I excited about a Jacob Fatu and Solo program? Not really, but
yeah,
not right now.
Right.
I could, because like I've said this on the program before. You had Jacob lose to Roman, and who at the time Jacob was pretty hot, right? Like right. That all built up some steam. So not Jacob Solo was pretty hot, right? Lost to Roman, and it's like you literally dipped the molten lava in the water and cooled him off instantly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he has not regained back any momentum, because then you also had the Bloodline, who were supposed to be his ride or dies, go, nah, bye, bitch, and left.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, definitely Jacob takes the title here. Fuck it, let's do it. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair for the Women's Championship. Chrome, because I feel like you got something I'm not going to agree with. Let's start with you.
I mean, listen, I said it earlier in terms of getting to where we're at. I think Tiffany's given it the old college try, and I applaud her and commend her for giving it a shot, but she's not at that level yet. I'd be shocked if Charlotte doesn't win the title here. And I'm okay with that. I think Tiff's time she's going to have plenty of time. I actually kind of feel like we might be starting to turn a corner where we're on the downside of Charlotte's career at this point. So
it's funny you say that, but I'm going to let Pete go next.
I have not liked how they brought Charlotte back, because it was like, hey, this is who I am when I left. This is who I am when I come back. And I feel like not just women's wrestling in its whole, but the WWE women's division and locker room is in a completely different place from when she left. If you look at Chelsea, it's a different dynamic, and she's giving me the same thing. I ultimately do think that they're going to put the title on Charlotte as well, but I hope that they don't, because that vulnerability side that Tiff tapped into when that whole promo with Haywire, that's a side we like, almost like we need to see something different from Charlotte. Like, we need a change, and we haven't seen it. And giving her the title, and you talked about Jade earlier. We got. I don't know when we would get that, but I don't think Jade is ready for that either. It's weird. Like, I just wouldn't have put Charlotte in this position. I wouldn't have put either one of them in this position. This is not. I don't think it was good on paper, but the execution of it I feel like this has probably been one of them, if not the most clunkiest build to any match that we're going to see on the card. Because
I had no problem with Charlotte coming back and being a heel. I don't know that
it's not the heel.
It's not her
it's
being
not the
we
heel.
talked about this.
But I don't even know if I don't know that this was the direction they were going to originally go to begin with. But the fans shit on her return so bad that next night that it was almost like, let's just lean into it. Let her be her and let her go in and lean into it.
My question to you is, who is her? That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't.
Charlotte is she's a Nepo baby. She's better than everybody else. She's arrogant. She knows she's better than everybody else. I don't have a problem with that character at all. That's the reality of it. And the reality of it is, there are politics that happen behind curtains that lean into that character. So there is an element of reality to that. So I have, knowing some of the information that I know, I have no problem with it because you're basically putting like a working shoot in front of the camera.
My biggest problem, and it really echoes a lot of what Pete said too, right, was the way Charlotte has, I don't want to say been acting, because I think there's nothing wrong with what she goes out and says and whatever have you, but it's the character that she's portraying. You almost just had her like asleep for the last like year and a half or 2 years, and she woke up and no one filled her in on what's happened since she's been gone. So she's literally just acting like it was, and what she was gone 2 years?
Almost.
Right? Am I right on that?
She went out, no, it was a little over a year, because she went out maybe like 4 months before last year's Mania, like around Rumble.
Okay, so you're gone for a year, and no one filled you in on anything that happened when you came back, and you think it's the same WWE that you come back to, when it's really not, number one.
But that's why the character works.
But see, it doesn't. For me, and look, because you and I will argue this till we're blue in the face, right?
Right.
This is, for me personally, it just doesn't work, and maybe some of that is the Tiffany factor too, right? Do I think she's 100% ready? I'm 50-50 there, right? I also just don't think that on paper, Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair should have worked phenomenally.
Right.
But it's not hitting for me. So, like, part of me just says, scrap the whole thing. Don't put the title back on Charlotte, because we've done it 1,000 times over.
Right.
Right? And find somebody where it's going to work with Tiffany.
And then
keep riding that train, because you gave me so much gold.
Right.
When Tiffany had the Miss Money in the Bank and the feud with Nia and the build up to her.
I wouldn't call it a feud.
I would say feud.
Go ahead, Chrome.
But like, I think a lot of that was really
somebody's echoing.
It's not me.
Check.
Say something, Chrome.
Hello.
Yeah, maybe.
I think a lot of that is lazy. Okay, in terms of her, because
it's not me, Pete. It's you.
It is Pete.
I didn't say anything.
No, but we're hearing ourselves.
We're hearing ourselves through your speaker, or wherever. Anyway, I actually think a lot of that was lazy. She's a heel. Suddenly, she becomes a face.
Right? You talking about Tiffany?
Yeah,
I hated that.
That wasn't good. Then I think her promos have not been good since she's become a face. I think they took a lot of what made that character special away. I think she's best as a heel. And the Charlotte thing to me does work, because Charlotte comes back. Charlotte is the best in the business. Charlotte is considered the best in the business. So she can come back and say, the only reason any of you did anything was because I was away. But now the queen is back. And it's going to go back to the way it was when I ran this division. So it does work. That's why that character is so special.
But again,
and when Tiffany can't handle herself, which she has not been able to,
But Charlotte did that. She's pulled that shit with everybody.
No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about go back and watch the brawls. Tiffany botches a lot. And that she's not on the level yet. She's getting there.
Yeah.
But she is not. And when you put her in the ring with the best, it exposes it. She's not there yet.
See, and this is where we want to throw around that Charlotte's the best, Charlotte this, Charlotte that.
She is. There's no. You would be the only person on earth that thinks Charlotte's not the best female wrestler in the world.
Right now?
Now and maybe ever. She's behind Tony. Significantly behind. Tony Storm is probably the biggest star at AEW. She's behind Tony.
I don't know if that's saying much though.
I mean, Pete, come on,
bro. I don't get it.
I'm not going to spend.
Before you go, Rich. She's 14. She's 14 times world champion. And when the division, I wouldn't say it was shit, but the landscape of women's wrestling has completely changed.
They had 4 of the best women's wrestlers in the world.
Even Becky. So when Becky and Rhea had their program last year,
and Rhea,
Becky showed a sign of doubt. Here's the problem with this whole thing with Tiff and Charlotte. They should have never changed Tiff after she cashed in on Nia. Her cashing in on Nia should have been what Edge did. It was this opportunistic. That was it. And they should have had Charlotte come back, still having the same thing. But listen, I am the newer, younger, more prettier version of you. You can't do this anymore. And create a program to where Charlotte would then start to doubt herself. Her fucking father in 1993, when he went up against Big Van Vader and Starrcade, had no shot to win. Look what that redid for Flair's career. She doesn't have that moment yet.
Well, but I'm saying I don't disagree with you, but then to say with the direction they chose to go with the Tiffany character, you had to bring Charlotte back in this form. And unfortunately, Tiffany cannot stack up with her. It's just that's just
to the that way point. I will absolutely 100% agree. But that's what I'm saying. It's a problem that they made themselves because they put the
before Charlotte came back. They did that. They did that before Charlotte came back.
Agreed. And I'll just die on this hill and we're going to move on, right? For the last few years, I haven't been a big fan of Charlotte because all of her stuff has just been rinse and repeat.
She doesn't even have the same face she had in 2015.
Guys, when I tell you trying to find a decent picture to use for a thumbnail 2 weeks ago might have been the hardest thing ever. Dude, I don't envy anybody.
That's not nice, guys.
Shut up. But all of her stuff has been cookie cutter, rinse and repeat. It got boring for me. It wasn't fun to watch. And that's all I see here is cookie cutter, rinse and repeat. Look, I'm not excited one iota for the match on Saturday, right? Tiffany versus Charlotte. On paper, I should be, but I'm not because even if Charlotte wins or loses, it's all just cookie cutter, rinse and repeat. That's just me. And I'm still a little bitter that Alexa Bliss has done diddly dick since returning at the Royal Rumble. So, there's that too.
It's weird.
We haven't seen Alexa. We haven't seen Nia. We haven't seen.
My point.
But you can't fit everybody everywhere, but.
Try. Moving on.
No, you can't. At this point with Mania season, the people who are not going to be a part of the card, unfortunately, have to take a back seat until after Mania. Just is what it is.
Moving on. Gunther versus Jey Uso. Anybody want to start?
I want to see this match more than any other match.
I think when you look at the card so far,
right,
like this match and the triple threat match that we're going to talk about next, like that is Saturday in a nutshell. And I think it's going to make everything else, like I'm going to have to sit through all of it to get, start, we all are kind of agreeing that it's going to start. And then I got to sit through everything else to get through the triple threat match. And I'm okay with that. I think we're still going to see some good wrestling. But as far as terms of build, as far as terms of story, as far as terms of, Pete, you and I have talked about this program at length, right? Where it's got that emotional depth now, and it's got layers to it, and you see it with Jay's entrance. Last week not eating once, and then this week he didn't really even get into it until he got down, got on the table, and then was like, nah, you know what? Yeah, we're going to do it kind of deal. Right? So, but then Gunther, last week you saw, and I have hated his title run, but I've loved what he's done the last few weeks. Last week, showing that, ooh, wait a minute, this is not who I thought I was going to be facing. Right. And then this week, kind of going off the rails a little bit. And, you know, once he started saying, screw you, Cole, screw your questions, screw this, I was like, oh, he borderline panicky almost, right? And it felt the segment felt very rushed. It all, like, he came out, did his bit, and left, because it's almost like, and I don't think it was I think it was intentionally done that way, I should say. It was almost like they're trying to build that Gunther has a little bit of nerves going into WrestleMania. He's facing a different Jey Uso. We're going to see and get a different Jey Uso come WrestleMania. One of the things, as you guys are answering, though, I do want you to hit on I shouldn't say a lot of people, a lot of things I've read. Is there a heel turn in Jey Uso's future as well? But I'm going to throw it to you guys and kind of let you rock and roll. I've, again, said it at length. I want Jey to win because, one, you can't call a main event Jey Uso anymore if he loses. And two, the imagery of 60, 70,000 people yeeting all over the place is going to be a timeless clip used for a while. But have at it, boys.
Yeah, no, I think he needs to win. It has nothing to do with main event Jey. He's lost every main event, and they call him main event Jey Uso. So, like, he's lost to Roman twice. Like, so I'm not necessarily worried about that. I do think at some point, though, like, this Yeet movement is so hot. Mm-hmm. And you're right. We talk about moments and visuals, right? The Yes movement, the Fireflies at WrestleMania, you know, the Undertaker entrances, the Triple H entrances. When you talk about iconic visuals, that honestly, as a viewer at home, when you sit there and say, I want to be a part of that.
Right. You wish you were there.
That is how you sell your product. And for the lack of better terms, what's best for business in terms of the world heavyweight title right now is to put it on Jey. I agree with you, Andy. I think Gunther as a champion, it's been underwhelming, but I don't think it has anything to do with him. I don't think they've put enough real challenges in front of him. He's had a few. He beat Randy Orton. There's a couple there. But I don't feel like they have done him justice in terms of the booking department. So, with that being said, I think Jey wins this. I don't see a way you can get past this without putting the title on him. So yeah, no, I think this is a big moment for, and also because of what I think is going to happen the next night, they're going to want that feel good moment on night one with the title.
But that's also why I fuck it, whatever. Go Pete. I don't even know what the hell I was going to say. I had something and I lost it.
And I'll lead off by saying this. I do agree. Gunther's reign, not for the fault of him, but just credible challengers in front of him, but also stories to where this is the first one it became personal for Gunther. And it didn't start out that way. It was more in the ring. I'm the best in the ring. I'm the ring general. Well, what you did to his brother, you took it outside. It became bigger than just the ring. It became bigger than world heavyweight title, than that gold and that medal and that leather, right? And we haven't had him see to be that invested in any of his programs up until this point. It had, like, you really cannot not go with Jey in that case. Like, this is one of the ones we were talking about when we started the show. Like, if you want to give me predictability, this is it. We're still going to love to see it. And we need to see it because we saw Backlash in France last year when he fought Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight title. That entrance is crazy. Just take that vibe, take that feeling, and multiply that by 3, right? So And then just like you said, from the mannerisms where it almost is like you can see Roman is really in his ear, Paul is really in his ear, to where it still doesn't cut the most wordy or vocabulary heavy promos, but the emotion that you feel that you get from that, it's like I said, like he feels so much that he can't get the words out sometimes, right? But this is just the stepping stone. This is just that point, that precipice to get to that hill. Let's not see this thing peter out. He still has to continue to grow. And I mean, IWC hates this. They hated him. They hated this since he won the Rumble. Like, he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't have this. He doesn't that. And then now,
yeah, but the IWC will change their mind.
True, but here's the beautiful thing:
they wanted it, and then they got it that night, and then the next day they were like, "I hate it now."
Right. But 2 weeks ago, what he did to his brother, that changed it all, because then it took your attention away from the fact that this is for a title. Now he need to get back on his brother. You know what I mean?
This is where the IWC gets annoying too, because they wanted it because they wanted Cena to win, because they like, which is weird, right? Mm-hmm. Considering his career. But at the end of the day, you got what you wanted in so much more of a spectacular way of doing it. With what they did at Bad Blood. Was it Bad Blood?
No,
Elimination Chamber.
When they did Elimination Chamber, that they got it anyway. That's why what the IWC wants or doesn't want, they're the most annoying.
It's irrelevant.
Oh, I did just want to add this in. What I think hurt the Gunther run is when he lost to Cody, they did the Seeds of Doubt at that point. Mm-hmm. So, to me, to maintain him as this monumental figure that he's supposed to be and that he really is, he's a tremendous wrestler, he needed a signature win after that. And I don't feel like they ever gave him that, to where I believe his confidence is restored and he's back to
like, no disrespect to,
and that's a booking thing, by the way.
No disrespect to the talent, right? But he should have steamrolled through Otis and Tozawa a few months ago, whatever it was. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the match. I liked watching Tozawa versus Gunther and Otis versus Gunther, respectively. But if you're the ring general, you should have beat the brakes off of them in a few seconds, just with how they're booked versus how you're booked.
It's almost like I wish he needed somebody that maybe like a Braun, or this is kind of where Bronson Reed came in. Like, his injury was a big blow for Raw, because that could have been someone that could have been believable to take the title off of him in that vulnerable moment, and he gets that win, and that kind of just resets.
And I will say, and I'll end on this as far as this all goes. I've enjoyed Gunther's work more in the last month, outside of the ring, outside of a match, than I have in a year or so. Mm-hmm. Because I think Gunther does so well highlighting his emotions and showing when he's super happy, right? You know, like when Jey was coming down the ring and Gunther couldn't stop laughing last week or the week before, whatever it was. But then within seconds, that whole demeanor changed, right? And when he gets angry, like we saw tonight, and when he's able to play into his emotions, it sells so much better to me. Because then when that bell rings, though, he's the true stoic professional. He's the ring general. He knows everything. He can counter everything. The matches will end. There's no definitive finisher for Gunther, right? The matches can end from a sleeper hold to a powerbomb to a damn splash, right?
Right.
He's adaptable, and I love that. And you put those things together, and I think you really have an untapped potential with the character that would have changed his entire title run.
He'll have another one. This won't be just his first.
This isn't over. But let's get into the triple threat match. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins. As of right now, Paul Heyman's in Punk's corner. Pete and I, last week, we talked about it. We think Paul Heyman's leaving with Seth Rollins.
I agree. I don't even need to deep dive into this match.
I was going to say, I don't think I don't think there's anything left for Pete and I to say.
I think we talked about it so much earlier. I think the writing has been on the wall, right? I think at the end of the day, that's who Paul Heyman leaves with, and that's where you get, your little twist of the night.
I will say, Seth Rollins' promo tonight kept referencing the puzzle piece and literally, I wish I could pull a transcript from it. I may go watch it back. Every line hit so well when you have it in your head that Paul's leaving with Seth, that Roman had a 1,300 title reign and he had Paul. Punk had a 400, 35-day run and he had Paul. Rollins has never had that run, but he's also never had Paul. And then they kind of went out of their way when Rollins hit Roman with the chair. And he said the Shield chair. Right? And
I think Rollins hit him so hard, he kind of wanted to fall to his knees like he did originally when he got hit, but Seth hit him too fucking hard with the chair.
But there were so many callbacks in that, and little, like if you read between the lines, I thought it was so well done. I think it's the borderline the promo of the program.
And here's the thing, right? They kind of been like, when you think they get something good, the next week they top it. The next week they top it. And tonight they topped it. And it was when he said, now you're finally starting to get it in 10 years, but now it's too little too like you remember, this is the perfect opportunity to go back to what Seth, he's had so many personas, right? The only Jericho's the only person I know that's probably had more than him in the last 10 years, right? Remember I talking about? I said I wonder what Roman, not what Heyman refers to stuff as, right? And this may be.
Well, it's almost like he wasn't talking to Roman,
but he sounded
talking to Paul.
This is the architect again.
Yeah, and especially with the little vest that he had on.
Yes.
But let's move over. If anybody has anything else, let's move over to night 2. We're gonna go straight into the Sin City Street Fight. But these names are so dumb. Between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. It's weird. I'm excited.
Andy, they're in the Sin City.
Shut up. That doesn't mean squat to me.
It's a Sin City street fight.
Shut up. Here.
In an arena.
Yeah, exactly. If they don't walk out onto the strip and they're not fighting in front of the Bellagio, I don't want it.
Somebody needs to get thrown into the fountain.
Dude, if somebody goes into the Caesars fountain, it's over. It's a wrap. Like, let this thing start the night. I'm not even playing. Let this thing start the night. And then they just go around and start beating the brakes off of each other at the different resorts.
So you do it like WrestleMania 12, right? Like with Goldust and Roddy Piper, right? Like they could, like, not cinematically, but they could film this early and like have them go around to the different resorts and do it that way, and then finish it in the arena.
Right. I would love that.
They won't. That'd be all.
Exactly. I think this will just be a straight up violent fight, knowing the both of them. So I'm excited on that aspect. But past that, the story just doesn't really do much for me. I think it was just a way to put both on the card and kind of get that comeuppance from last year's WrestleMania, kind of put that story to bed. So fine. I don't really care who wins, though.
Man, I do. That's me. But
so then talk about it, because I clearly don't.
Drew is in a zone right now. It's just weird. I can't, and I'm curious to see where they go with Drew, because I feel like a Drew Jacob Fatu over the United States title before you get to the whole solo thing. Sign me up for all that. I'm here for all that.
It is so crazy to think, though, about Damian Priest and how we used to call this guy like blander than vanilla extract. and now here he is.
I like Priest. I've been on the Priest bandwagon the last couple of years. You know that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like we think about when he first debuted and all that, and every single person associated with this channel absolutely hated him for the longest time.
Well, what was the first thing I said, right, when he got brought up? I said, hated his NXT run, but I really like him on the main roster. And I thought that he had a lot of potential. And I don't think this is just get them on the card thing. I think it is long-term storytelling. To kick back to last year and to show that Priest has grown over the last year. To be in a featured match against Drew McIntyre this year, I think shows, walking out as a champion with the Money in the Bank last year, having the tag title match last year, shows this year, Drew's one of our top guys. And you're getting the match against one of the top guys. And what's been one of the, I think, more focused programs too over the.
It's been since Rumble, and this is like his first singles match at Mania, because I think before it was with him and Bunny versus Miz and Logan Paul, and then now he had the tag match last year.
I mean, could you technically count the cash in as a single match though?
No. I mean, you could
technically. Where he's getting his own entrance by himself, he can soak it all in.
Fair enough. You know what I mean? Anybody have anything else before I move on?
No, I mean, same thing. I don't really care who wins in this. I think Drew wins in this. But it's
as long as it's a good fight.
And I feel like it will. I feel like these guys get in on each other, and they're.
I feel like if you didn't know any better, they legitimately hate each other.
Yeah.
Right. God. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul.
Why do we say, oh God?
Because I feel like this needs just a little bit more. And I didn't get to catch all the Karrion Kross AJ match. And I think Karrion Kross, like the Karrion Kross character and what they've done with him, whether it's been intentional or not intentional, there's so many layers to that. And I feel like we should have gotten a little bit more of him and AJ. But I have to go back and watch that match before I could say yes or no. I also am kind of tired of Logan Paul. I think he's great in the ring, but I'm kind of tired of him just as a character. And I think that's what he's supposed to be doing. So great. Good on him. Like I said, I love his matches in the ring. Just he's doing his job. Put it that way. And I'm over
it. But that's where I think that's what this is, right? So agreed with you. A focus by them needs to be after WrestleMania this year, building up Karrion Kross and going with his character going forward.
This whole puppet master thing that they're
like Shawn Michaels tonight a little bit in a way.
He's always been a very good guy. It's just about getting him in the right position. They finally figured it out and what works on the WWE television, because he was unbelievable when you go back and look Lucha Underground and everything else and Impact when he was involved with that. Secondly, I don't need a build for this match. This is one of those matches. They could have just told me we're just putting these guys on the card. No builds, no background. We're just giving you this match. And I would be like, give it to me. This could end up being the match of the weekend.
And I think so too. But maybe just because they did try to build it a little bit, where I'm just like, If you would have just said, all right, it's going to be Logan Paul versus AJ Styles, like if they would have announced this Friday on the Pat McAfee show or something like that, right? Cool. I'm in. I'm invested. But doing the little bits that they did, I was like,
I mean.
And I don't know why. I can't answer why to you.
Right.
But I'm just like, unless AJ comes out a la TNA AJ.
I am.
Yeah, right. Like I'm just like, it's gonna be a good match. I'm gonna enjoy watching it, very much so. But it does nothing for me.
I mean, it's gonna be a great match. I think they could have used Logan Paul in a different spot. And what I mean by a different spot is have him. You almost could have I would have been cool with if they would have built it up right. To your point, give me AJ, give me that rub with him and Karrion, and you get us to a point to where maybe you have AJ Styles versus Karrion Kross at WrestleMania, right? And then have Logan be this self-fulfilled, pompous, egotistical bastard and says, "Hey, I'm Logan Paul. I'm just going to show up to WrestleMania in my gear."
And you do almost like a return on him,
Do a Rusev return on him,
or an Aleister Black.
or Aleister Black. You could have just had Logan Paul come to the ring and be like, "Hey, I'm here. Anybody want to challenge me?" You could,
a la kind of like Seth Rollins, 38.
right? Because somebody's going to want to shut this dude up. And you could have had him promoting that for a couple weeks, 2 or 3, 4 weeks. You could have had him promoting that.
Anybody really care about Rusev coming back?
I mean, I care more about Aleister, but
I think it would just really depend on what they do with him when they bring him back. Like,
right.
I think he's still got a lot left in the tank physically, but from a character perspective, it's really going to hit. Like, please don't bring him back as the Bulgarian Brute and all that. Like, he's done so much. He's shown that he can do so much more than that. Yes. What do you bring him back as? I don't have the answer for you. But what you don't bring him back as is the Bulgarian Brute.
I don't even bring him back as Rusev. Let him be Miro now.
Yeah, almost exactly. Like, if you have the rights to Miro, if you have all that, let him be Miro.
Yeah.
But I think AJ does get the win here.
I think so.
I don't.
You
I
don't?
think Logan gets the win here. I think AJ's at the point in his career where he is helping with the changing of the guard. He can still go. He can still put on a top flight match where he doesn't need a pin to get it. And he's at the point now where, it's advancing talent.
Well, but
I'd like AJ to get it, but I don't think he gets it.
But I'm thinking, and again, I can't get off this Karrion Kross puppet master kind of character. And so I think that's going to fuel that somehow, right? We're going to get a different AJ at WrestleMania, and you're going to see noticeable differences, and they're going to use that to forward the AJ side of that transition.
I think they talked
But that
today.
also still works. That also still works when if you have him lose too, right? So one half doesn't the other.
I do think they did mention tonight, like how Karrion Kross got his gear made by the same.
I did see that on Facebook. So yes, they did mention that.
Is AJ's person?
As AJ's person, yeah, they highlighted that.
I mean, they both got the hair to match.
Mm-hmm. That soccer mom haircut.
It's longer than that.
Yeah, AJ got the soccer mom no more.
No.
Anyway, it was still one of the funnier moments.
Sure.
Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria.
I don't even care.
Yeah, man, I don't.
This makes no sense to me. I think that. I think Bayley turns heel here.
After what I saw tonight,
I would think Lyra to turn heel.
Yeah, after what I saw tonight, I would think Lyra.
I don't even know why she would. She's the Intercontinental Championship. It almost makes no sense for her to turn heel.
Yeah, I mean, but
expect the unexpected. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Something different. Because
years ago,
I don't feel like anybody's behind. Like the crowd reaction, even when like I was at the Raw, right before they went to Netflix. That was I think the semifinals for the bracket, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Lyra had her match on that card. Like the crowd was kind of into her entrance, but there was no pop for her. There was a pop when she won, but nothing crazy. Like I don't think the crowds really know what to do with her because we talk a lot about character development. We haven't really gotten much.
No, you haven't. She has promos wise. She hasn't really cut promos. To me, this would have been a better spot for Secret Herbers. This has been perfect because then you get Chelsea on the show. You get like then like you got them wrestling in Secret Service suits. Like come on, like that.
Well, here's what I think. One, yes, that would work too. You took TV time to put Maxine and Natalya in the gauntlet match. Like you carved out Monday Night Raw TV time to do that. Where was that push? Where's that? Like, that wasn't even highlighted on their damn social media page that they were in the flipping match.
Yeah.
Right? And then Chrome, you mentioned it earlier. Why isn't Lyra defending the title here? Why did we do a title match last week and nothing this week?
Yep.
You know? I don't.
My thing is, you have two brand new secondary women's titles, and neither of them are being featured on the show.
And one is a travesty. The other, I'm okay with it not being highlighted because they've done nothing with the champion.
You talking about Chelsea?
No, they've done everything with Chelsea.
Oh.
Chelsea's the travesty that she's not being on here.
Oh, I thought you meant like she was the travesty. Like
no.
No, it's a crime.
They've done nothing with Lyra. They've done no storytelling. Just, oh, you want a shot? Sure. Come on, let's go to the ring.
Yeah.
It's like a bad hooker in Vegas.
I agree.
Braun Breaker. I think this is one of the matches I'm more excited for overall for the full weekend. The Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental Championship. Braun versus Penta versus Balor versus Dominic. I will take a hot take here. What I think is a hot take. If it's not Penta, it's Dominic. And
that's not that hot of a take.
It's not a hot take. I think we all have the same opinion.
Okay. I wasn't sure because not very rarely do we all agree, especially with something like this. You know, and we've talked about the IWC, and while they are a bunch of pains in the asses, the split with Dominic is almost right down the middle. The people that want to see him win it and the people that still don't like him and can't get past their own biasness for him. But I think if putting it on Dominic makes so much more sense than putting it on Penta to me because of what they've been doing and how they've been building it. And you can really take, you know, do you separate Dominic out of the Judgment Day like they did with Rhea and Damian? You know, once he had gold, it's a way to pull him out of that, right? Or do you have it where Finn goes away from the Judgment Day and kind of finds himself again and hopefully brings back Demon Valor and some of his better stuff? Because, again, I'll die on this hill. I fucking hate heel Valor. It's awful.
If you have Dom win it, you still haven't been healed. Like, because Dom's face turn, whenever it happens, it's going to be a monumentous moment.
Mm-hmm.
If done right, it's going to be a monumentous moment. And I don't know if I want to do that versus Finn Balor.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Or versus just, like kind of in that situation. But I can still see if he wins it, him, Liv, and Raquel. I mean, Carlito's there just to take the best spears in the world. And wherever JD kind of comes back into the fold at some point.
I thought they were going to run that spear back tonight, by the way.
Or do they do the new member?
Ooh.
I just think it's weird. Like, I don't think you could do the Dom face turn until you get him away from Liv. Too.
Yeah.
Like it's just a very weird dynamic. She's too deep in and with her heel character at this point. So I just feel it would be odd. I like Penta personally. I think he's an ideal guy. We're getting back to making it a workhorse title. And he's the type of guy that can do that.
Oh, I love Penta too. That's what I'm saying. Like, if it's not Dom, it's Penta.
Right. So no, I don't think it's a hot take by you, Andy. But you know, I think Dom's done amazing work, by the way, and I agree with you. I don't hate heel Balor.
Mm-hmm.
I hate this heel Balor. I think it's real weird.
Yeah, it's not hitting for me at all, and it hasn't since he joined up with the Judgment Day. You know, a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was.
I thought it did for a while.
Nah, not for me. It did. I never liked it.
What?
It never felt like there was any sense of authenticism there.
See,
Right? It always felt like he was trying to.
When he was a tag champ for Priest, I like that. Like that
was not.
So did I. And my thing is maybe because I'm like a smart mark or whatever. I mean, some of his best work was pre WWE when he was. I mean, he was a heel. He was the prince. And
I'm not familiar. Like I know
but
that.
Right.
I know that character of him exists and all that. But as far as like actually sitting down and watching any of that, I never did.
No, I get it, but I'm saying like I always felt like that was really great work that hit for me. This is not the same type of guy, right? Mm-hmm. Like the like it's a group of no leaders, and then he has an ego, but like he hasn't won.
They're all equals, but yeah, he's not.
And like the week in and week out, like snarky comments, like it was kind of funny at first. I was in on it when you're like, okay, he's a little bit jealous or he has a bit of an ego, but like kind of became the same thing every week. And it's like, it's just not hitting for me.
Who do you? All right, we already did that. All right, let's go. We have 2 more matches left. Iyo Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. It's really hard for me not to say Rhea here.
It ain't Rhea. What you did if you was gonna put it back on.
It's gonna be Bianca.
Because part of me just says leave it on Iyo and keep rocking the way it is. Right? I also don't think it's the time for Bianca either. I become very much I was a Rhea Ripley fan for a while, then I wasn't. And I very much am back to being a Rhea Ripley fan. So like it's really hard, and this is the one character where I'm like, no, I want to see her win all the time. Right? It's really hard for me right now to separate that, but I think here, because of the way that they've done Iyo through this whole program, you know, the shoves out of the way and like I none of that was I didn't like that. So I want to see Iyo win here. I almost feel like it needs to happen for her to continue being champion. Let me rephrase that: a champion that like isn't going to be taken lightly.
I think one of two things could happen here. You could get that, and I think Bianca then throws a fit after and takes her out. Or, you know, we're talking about having a tie-in to Jade and Naomi. I could also see Naomi coming out and helping Bianca to win this.
I could see that.
In a very heel way. And then that is whether it's immediately obvious that night that they are working together. Because I almost feel...
Does that mean that Naomi has to win the night before?
No, she doesn't. Okay. No. And
probably make her lose more because then she's just more chicken shit about it.
Unless Naomi was at ringside, not Naomi, Bianca ends up at ringside the night before.
See, like
inadvertently helps Naomi. And Naomi,
I think you convoluted. Then you take the surprise away if you do it the next night.
Fair. I'm just spitballing.
Yeah. I almost feel like they're leaving this door open for like, okay, maybe Naomi doesn't know that Bianca knew that she took Jade out, but maybe Bianca did know.
Mm-hmm.
But like didn't say anything because she didn't want to give up her tag team title.
Right.
And it becomes this whole thing, and then that's where it kind of leads to, you know, she wasn't the direct culprit for Jade, but she
didn't do anything to stop it.
She benefited from
it. Yeah. Agreed.
So, like, I feel like that's how you could kind of pull that tie-in. So, I think it could be one of two things. I 100% think in one way or another Bianca is turning heel in this match.
Fair.
You think it's happening during the match?
I think she has to, right?
During or after. If Iyo wins, I think it happens after. where like, oh, I'm the champ, I'm going to acknowledge her, and then she hits her with her.
Yeah, I'm with it. Iyo, it's either Iyo or Bianca. That's not Rhea.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's Rhea, but there's a small part of me that would just like to see Rhea win. But again, it's that biasness that sometimes, like when we like a superstar, sometimes it's really hard. Like I was like that with Undertaker for a long time.
I love Rhea though, but like, what? Like, I don't like the way this program has gone.
Me either.
She can just come out and sign a contract, and she's in a match all of this time. Like, what are we doing? Not gonna lie,
when that happened though, I did laugh. I thought that was funny as hell.
It's like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing?
So does that mean Andy Ritter can go into the ring and sign a women's title match, and he's a part of the women's title match? Like, what are we doing?
The women's title, bro.
I mean,
you could have give me some dignity. Give me the damn Intercontinental title or the fucking Speed Championship. Give me something.
The Speed title, okay. Yeah.
Give me something.
You can sign a contract for the Speed Championship. Yeah, huh? I mean, I don't know how the Speed Championship would go with you, but
got my allergies acting up.
I hate both of you. Why do I agree to this shit?
But that's one of the reasons alone. Even if I want to see Rhea as champion again, which I'm kind of good with not seeing for a while. Right. Like you guys said, right? Rinse and repeat with Charlotte. Well, we're kind of seeing that with Rhea now.
No, agreed.
The way she got into this match makes me not want to see her walk out of it.
But I think the star of all of these promos the entire time has been Adam Pearce. His little
he's a tremendous on-screen authority.
His little just come on. When so somebody would come out, they were the best.
Yeah.
All right, well,
he's such a good authority figure that doesn't have to be the heel authority, the authority or whatever. Mm-hmm. He's just him. And I imagine we're getting a Randy Orton match, and God, please
let it be all this.
Let it be all this, please. Don't. What were they teasing this past week?
They were teasing it, yeah.
They were teasing it, but then what was the other thing they were teasing? Who did he have his interaction with this week?
Crap. I don't remember.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, you look that up. But I was going to say, before we get to Cody Cena, are there any matches that you think we still end up getting that have not yet been announced? Because there's always those one or two, Randy Orton withstanding, right? There's always those one or two matches that get announced last minute. Because we still have the go-home show for SmackDown on Friday.
Right.
So is there anything you think that has not been announced that we're still going to end up getting?
Man, I hope that we get a non-finish for the SmackDown World Tag Team titles.
And it gets pushed to one of the nights?
Yes.
It'd have to get pushed to Sunday.
I'm cool
Solo.
Solo, there you go.
Oh my God. I don't want that. Please don't give me a Randy Orton solo match at WrestleMania. I don't need that.
If anything, do all that. Give me a Sammy return at least.
I am praying that we get finally that Nick Aldis gets this match. Anyway, sorry. Send me the sidetrack for that.
No, you're fine. Before we get into, before we get into Cody and Cena, is there any match, because like I said, we still have SmackDown on Friday, right? Is there any match that hasn't been announced yet that you would want to see on the card?
No, I just gave mine away.
Other than that one?
No.
Okay.
And I know I'm not getting the tag title match, so.
That's fair. All right, well, Chrome, I'm going to let you start. Cody Rhodes, John Cena, undisputed WWE Championship. Take us there, brother.
Yeah, I mean, we've touched on the background of this. I think there's a couple hits and misses here. This is, I am, and you know this, I am as big of a Cody Rhodes fan as there has ever been. All the way back to when he started. But this is the time that John Cena needs to walk out of this with a championship. I just don't see another way, the way this has been built. I also, as much as I love Cody, I worry about him getting a little bit stale because there's not a whole lot of new challengers out there.
Well, I want to pause you right there because the whole stale bit and everything like that. We touched on how The Rock has not been brought up, right? We've really gone out of our way almost to not mention The Rock, not mention what he promised Cena or what made Cena sell out and this, right? What was the the price for his soul kind of deal. And then I rewatched before Raw started. I rewatched Cody's promo on SmackDown with all the titles, which, by the way, fantastic, right? I love it.
Agreed.
He ends that with the title belongs to us. Mm-hmm. He didn't specify, and again, maybe I'm reading too much in between the lines. He didn't
turn heel.
Yeah, right. You and I have floated this idea. What if he ends? We get a double turn because what else is being highlighted this week? The double turn between Austin and Hart at 13. Could you get a double turn? I don't think so, right? But there's that little bit in my side that says, you know what? I'm not surprised if they do it. I'm more surprised that they do pull the trigger necessarily, but I'm not surprised that they had the idea.
No, I don't think you could get a double turn because, I mean, why didn't Cody just agree to do it a month ago then?
Yeah.
When he told Rock to go fuck himself. You know what I mean?
Why did Cena sell out to The Rock? Questions I still don't have the damn answer to.
Right. We don't have the answer to it, but he already did it. He didn't say no to The Rock. He said no to The Rock 15 years ago, whatever it was. But no, I mean, this is the time. John Cena needs to be 17. For a lot of different reasons, I think he deserves it. And I also, I started going back and watching a lot of different stuff. I think they want to kind of get away from that Ric Flair marker at this point and start having to mention his name a lot, having to mention his name less on television.
I feel like they're trying to get away from everything
Agreed.
Almost 2000.
Agreed. I went back and watched the Dark Side of the Ring of the Plane Ride from Hell because I haven't watched it in a while, and I just started thinking again. I'm like it made me think even more. Cena's got to win. Cena's got to be number 17 at this point. This is the time to do it. Give him a run. Let him do a heel run until SummerSlam. We can drop the title there. Then we can get the feel-good few months to the end of the year.
Well, and you also have, and the reason I say 2000, you look at the demographic of people that are watching wrestling right now. Mm-hmm. A lot of those people barely remember the Attitude Era, right? And so you always want to talk about people they know. And a lot of records are being broken, and a lot of industry wide, not just within the WWE. And you're setting that tone to where now it's either the stars you've heard of before and could have potentially seen, or it's the stars of today setting those new records and laying new foundations. It's a huge shift within the industry, and I think with Cena capturing 17, it's almost like that final nail in the coffin of moving away from the past, and and for
except for Hogan, they love their real American beer. They just can't get enough of him.
God, he's awful.
Do we get an Austin sighting this weekend?
Outside of the Hall of Fame, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't need it.
I'm not going to be mad if we get it, right? I'm not going to be upset if we don't get it. I also don't know where you put it to where it makes the most sense. If anything, it's going to be when they do the attendance number, right? And he comes down and hands out some stunners, right? Whether it's to A-Town Down or whoever, right? You're gonna pick somebody and you're just gonna go out there and let them stun them and move on, right? I don't think you go through this weekend stunnerless or a beer bash. So I think you get it. I just don't know. You're not going to get it during a match. It makes no sense whatsoever for what you've got on the card right now. The only way, if Rock was more prevalent, I would say yes.
Okay.
Because I think they wanted that last year with the Take. That was supposed to be in Taker's spot. That was supposed to be Austin, right? So I think they would want to run it back here. But with The Rock, I mean, hell, he's not even advertised for this weekend.
I thought he was already.
I don't think he is advertised.
Rock will be there. I just don't see there's not even a tie to Vegas, right? Like, usually when Austin's involved, there's a tie there.
Well, doesn't he live there?
I don't know if he lives there or not.
I think he lives there now.
He lives in Nevada.
But I'm saying, like, there's ties to his career. Like, he wrestled here when he was supposed to be a part of WrestleMania 40. That's where the first Rock Austin match took place at WrestleMania 15. There's usually a career tie.
Well, and he's on Stephanie's places. They're
I gotta start watching that.
That's so, dude. I haven't watched the Rhea Ripley episode, but I watched the first two with Cody and Punk.
Might be when I fall asleep.
I liked them. I gotta watch the Rhea episode, but they're airing the Austin episode this week.
Are they saving Roman ones for next week?
I think so.
Because I think there were snippets out already of it where
they used that to advertise the show. I think before they started releasing it, but they haven't released that episode yet. Yeah,
but no, the Austin episode airs this week, and then he's obviously him and Brett are getting highlighted at the Hall of Fame. So I might say, yeah, we get it, right? Now, if none of that was happening, I think I'm with you, Chrome, right? There's nothing there, but he does live in Vegas.
Yeah. I mean, like, you're not going to bring him into the main event unless he's helping and Cody's going to win.
Right.
Right. So I just don't see it happening. And I'm fine with that. I don't need an Austin
baby tap this Sunday.
I don't need an Austin appearance at every WrestleMania. When he comes out and waves his little hat like Jimmy Dugan from A League of Their Own when they announce Hall of Fame, I'm good with that.
A legal reference.
Does anybody? We've gone way over time. God, I love asking for forgiveness.
Did you give your winner, Pete? You're saying the same, right?
Cena.
Yeah, Pete and I spent like 2 shows ago talking about this whole damn thing.
Yeah, it has to be Cena.
Yeah, that was the other weird thing about like building up to this WrestleMania from like a show perspective. It was like, all right, well, we're gonna literally lay out how this match goes, and I didn't think about it until we were building today's show. I was like, damn, Pete and I have already talked about that.
Yeah.
Pete and I have already talked about that. That's why I texted you. I was like, you're on today, yes?
Yeah.
If not, I still have time to rewrite a show.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm just like, Cena he taps into his Peacemaker face when he just
all right.
Just like Peacemaker.
A couple last questions. 1, who has the entrance of the weekend?
Seth Rollins. I feel like every year he has the best entrance.
Honestly, used to like unassisted entrance, like no special.
Oh no, yeah. Like who's gonna have like the best entrance?
I think it could possibly be Cody if Downstate is there, and they do Kingdom Live.
I don't know. I mean, Cena maybe it's his last one, and he usually has.
Yeah, I either Cena or honestly, I think Jey. I think we might look back on Jay's entrance and really enjoy that one.
Is he gonna sing himself out to the ring?
That would be kind of cool.
Like fucking R-Truth.
Yeah.
I love Roman's music the best, especially the new one, and they always kind of put a spin on it. I mean, in 39 it was the Japanese drums. Last year it was the choir,
wasn't it?
The opera kind of vibe. Kind of curious what they see. This will be the first time we see him coming out to the ring without Heyman in a while. Yep. It could be Punk too, though. Remember, Punk didn't really have an entrance.
And Living Color, I think they're playing in Vegas. on Friday night.
I mean, they played him out at 29.
Yeah.
Yep.
Against Taker.
And any surprises, any celebrity sightings, anything we haven't talked about yet that you guys think is going to happen this weekend?
Celebrities that are going to get involved, they're just going to be in the crowd.
Oh, I'm going to say yes.
I mean, I think Brady's going to be there, Tom Brady. But involved? No. I don't think any celebrity I can see getting involved, unless maybe Jake Paul and AJ's match.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just to see what outside of that. That's so long. That's so far.
Like the Raiders stink. So like, who's going to come out from them?
Geno Smith, Pete Carroll.
Yeah,
they're smart. They do Marshawn Lynch.
You could get maybe Max Crosby. I could see Max Crosby making a
Who the hell is that?
The defensive
best defensive players. Yeah, he's one of the best defensive players in the league.
Thank you.
And he is on the Raiders. He's one guy. Yeah, I could see Max Crosby coming out. He's a big dude too. So I could see them doing something physical with him. Other than that, I mean, I don't see any of the Golden Knights coming out. So I think we're good.
Okay. And then
I'm sure Maria Menounos will be somewhere around there too.
Oh, easily. And George Kittle too.
Of course.
I miss the days of Gronk.
You think Vinny Curry going to be in the building?
Vinny Curry is always in the building.
Always.
There was a running joke where for 3 different WrestleManias I ran into Vinny Curry. 2 of them I got pictures with him, and I was like, "Hey, Vinny, good to see you at WrestleMania again." Even though we both live in Philly.
Who?
Vinny Curry was an Eagles player.
He was on the Eagles Super Bowl team.
Got traded to the Jets or signed by the Jets, and then during a routine physical, they found like a blood disorder.
Remember, I'm surprised I know who I know on the Eagles. Yeah. Let's be real.
Well, big Eagles fan. I've ran into him like a million times. So he sat over across the aisle from me one year for my birthday when I got like 4th row seats.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's it. We're going to put a nice little bow on this. We are not live this weekend for the first WrestleMania in probably 4 or 5 years. I do want to. We're not live at all. Not Saturday, not Sunday. I do want to enjoy it this year and listen to commentary and just be a fan this weekend. But we will be back next week with a full breakdown of the weekend. Haven't talked to anybody on if that's going to be live or not. That might be. I don't know. That might be a special thing we do. Okay. But for that, until next week, guys, tell somebody you love them. Peace, love, and joy.